That's what your soul looks like. I remember growing up, there was all this, there was a lot of problems with drug abuse, sadly, at that time. I remember they had a number of commercials that said, basically, they had these pictures of, this is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. And the whole thing was, but it scared a lot of people, thank God, to stop with their, abuse of drug abuse. So, this is your soul, but this is your soul in its pristine form. And we mentioned yesterday that we need to talk about what that means. And we will, we're going to explain. We already started with Chokhmah. In the anatomy of the soul, is that Chokhmah is that highest place inside of me. We explained that Chokhmah is Koach Ma, the ability to say. Koach means an ability of a power to say Ma, what. And we said yesterday, do you say what when you know something or when you do not know something? When you do not. And therefore, the highest part of your neshama is actually a very humble place. And we explained that it's exactly for that reason that you're able to, so to speak, move out of the way and make space, that now you allow an infinite light to come into you, which can only happen by making space and saying, Ma, what, I don't know. So this is your soul, not on drugs. This is your soul. Your soul on drugs doesn't look so good. It's not actually a good idea. And you can get much higher learning Torah, way higher learning Torah than any of the other stuff that is out there. The reason why people seem to be drawn more towards narcotics and psychedelics is because it's fast, it's easy, it's quick.
The short, long way.
But that's called the short, long way. Excellent there. The short, long way, it's short, you're right there by the palace, but you have a hard time getting in because you didn't really earn it. It was given. Now, does that mean that if a person had a psychedelic experience and they saw something which was real, does it mean that that was totally false and means nothing? No. A lot of people actually came back to God through those experiences, but that doesn't mean that you're supposed to do it. And it doesn't mean that it's going to go well. That's one of the big dangers, is there's a lot of risk here. And it gets people also addicted to that experience where they need to do it all the time. And if they feel that they're not doing it, then it's like, I don't have that high anymore. And Hashem says, I'm here all the time. Ein oid malvada. You need this substance to feel me, but I'm here all the time. And therefore, it's true. It's a long, short way. It's a long, short way. It takes real work, real effort. But then you actually arrive at that relationship. Besides the fact that it's not a good way to go through life, a feeling that I can only exist on this plane if I take this major psychedelic, this major mind-altering thing to get me in the right zone. And I'll tell you this, it won't work well with marriage, because stressful things inevitably come up. So you can't tell your wife, no, I'm just, just let me get into my side room. I'm going to take a couple tabs. I'll be back in like 25 minutes, and it's good. It'll be great. It'll be great. I'll be no problem talking at that point. And she's like, I'm scared of you. That frightens me. And life needs to be moment to moment, really being deeply present for another person. So, do the psychedelics have a role? It's not a good idea. It's not a good thing. Yeah.
So why did Hashem put MS in them?
So, it's interesting that sometimes a person could have experiences where he does see something. We oftentimes see if a person does something he really should not have done. Sometimes through what happened, he got himself in a really bad hole. He did something he shouldn't have done. And it creates this feeling of remorse of, I'm so low. I'm so low. All I want is you. Did I tell you guys the famous story of an old friend of mine who felt that he had to just go on a break from yeshiva for a few days to Tel Aviv? Did I tell that? Maybe some of the guys. Okay, so there was one of the guys, and he felt like he needed to take a little bit of a break. Now, I was nervous when he said a little bit of a break. I thought maybe he was just going to go to the park and, get some sunshine and eat a few organic cookies or something and take the afternoon off. I get some organic, freshly squeezed pomegranate juice and, relax. But in fact, he had other plans, and he went with another one of the guys to Tel Aviv. It happened to be this guy was like a mega wealthy guy, and it wasn't exactly that they were going to use that mega wealth in a good way, like for charity or something, but they were going to use that mega wealth, what they described as high-balling in Tel Aviv. Okay, now, you know what that means. That means nightclubs, girls, and when you get certain guys that have money, and it's not a good combination, it's one of these things like they walk into the club, hey, drinks on me! Did he say, drinks on this guy, drinks on, yeah bro, and pick him up like a chair, like it's like his hasana or something, Nagila, and the guy, yeah, okay, and that's how it went, and they went to the fanciest hotels, and the fanciest this, and the fanciest that, highballing. I think they told me they dropped tens of thousands of dollars in a couple of days. That's sick. That's sick, not in the good way, like the kids use. That's sick, Rabbi. No, it's just sick. That's disgusting. And not the way the kids use disgusting. Like, that's just horrible. Not like the kids, it was bad, okay? It wasn't good. And it was getting close to Shabbos. And I mamish remember, my friends, I get a call. And I was trying to call this guy, like one of those like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. No one's picking up the phone. Nothing's happening. And I pick up the phone and it's my buddy. He's like, Rebbe. I'm like, is everything okay? It's like, yeah. Like, where are you? Like, everything. Like, what's going on? He's like, I can't talk. Just Shabbos. Just Shabbos. It was getting close to Shabbos. Like, where? Just come back to Jerusalem. Come home, bro. So I said, just get in the cab. My phone is done. I don't know. I said, come home. He's like, get my clothing, get my Shabbos shoes, get my tie, get my everything. I'll meet you at the end of Mamilla. Like, and I'll pick you up on our way out. My wife and I were going out for the Friday night. We'll pick you up on our way out. We'll swing by. We'll meet you at the end of Mamilla. He wouldn't have enough time to get back to just come and we'll get you. I get into the cab with my wife. Mama Shabbos is coming in. I see this guy. Like, Mama Shabbos, like, you can already hear the siren, like, Shabbos, like all on the loudspeakers in Jerusalem. And all of a sudden, I turn the corner to Mamilla, and I see this Yid. He's like shaking a little bit. I don't know where any of his like stuff is. He's wearing like a neon pink slinky top and like short shorts, like way too short to be appropriate. Like tanned, like bright beet red tan. His eyes are like just get in the cab, hit it. The cab to the destination, get to the place, throws the guy into the shower. We throw him in, just give him all of his stuff. He races to shul, gets there by Ashrei, mamish by Ashrei. He has the deepest Friday night meal of his entire life. He's crying the whole time by call. Mom is crying for Hashem. Why did I tell this to you? Because sometimes, do I ever tell a person, yeah, go spend 20 grand in Tel Aviv on completely forbidden things? That would be horrible. That's actually, when I mean horrible, I mean asur, deraisa, loisasuru, acher levav, like all the Yisurim of the Torah, like all the stuff you're not supposed to do. But I will tell you that something flipped in this person's life, that from his lowest point, something shifted in his life and says, I can never go back to those things. And he ended up totally changing his life. Now he lives in Meir Sharm with 12 children. I'm just kidding. But Baruch Hashem has a wonderful family. But there's a certain amount of like, sometimes things which we shouldn't do actually awaken within us something that are unbelievable and bring us closer to Hashem. This is called Shiva from love. Shiva out of love. Now, can we ever allow a person to do something he shouldn't be doing? The answer is no, you're not allowed to ever do that. But if something happened in your past, then Hashem made it for a reason. And we want to now help you come home, and it could be that you can excavate something from that experience that will actually bring you even closer to Hashem. Okay? This is all an introduction as we're getting closer to Purim also. These are all Purim tires. Because Haman becomes somehow the hero of the story. The very gallows that he builds for Mordechai, he gets hung on those very gallows. And we drink to the point on Purim where we say, you don't even know the difference between Baruch Haman and Ora Mordechai, Ora Haman, Baruch Mordechai, blessed is Haman, cursed is Mordechai, cursed is Mordechai, cursed is Haman, blessed is Mordechai. That even the Haman moments of my life become filled with the light of Mordechai. So in answering the question of psychedelics, it's not something we're pushing people towards. If they did something, it means that there was something there that had to happen. But now moving forward, we want people to have sustained, real, deep relationship with Hashem. Deep. It doesn't depend on something external. It's every moment I'm with you, Hashem. And that's real. That's real. Where you're totally present. Rav Nachman is speaking about awakening ourselves right now and pushing away din. And we mentioned that we want to share Hashem with the world in the way of Yaakov, which is like a home, a bias. That just like Yaakov made Hashem relatable to the world, that I don't need a bunch of LSD to find God. That Hashem is relatable like my home. I wake up in my home, it's close to me. And Hashem is going to become relatable to Hashem. Hashem is going to be relatable to the world like a home. In such a real way. And we said that was the purpose, that we're going to take Hashem from being a mountain closer even than a field, and making Hashem like a home. So look inside the Emasai Hu Mehulal Mehem. We said the greatest time that Hashem's name will be glorified in the world is even when the ones who are so far from Hashem are praising Hashem's name. The Hainu Kishabechinas Har Nase Ir Lekeinu Hu Yishu Bnei Adam Mechinas Bayis. Even when those cities, even when the mountains become like cities, what is closer to a person? Where do people live more, in a city or in the mountain?
Cities.
In the city. We're not talking about the cities that are corrupt. We're talking about healthy, good cities, places that you want to live. The idea of a mountain is that it's imposing. I'm going to hang off a cliff somewhere. It's not the place that you set up a family and a home. It's far out there. When we talk about a city, we mean a holy city. Od Yesham va'are Yehuda u'v'chutzais Yerushalayim. Like the wedding, the great wedding of when Mashiach comes, is going to be a wedding between humanity and God. That wedding is going to be like, you're going to hear it through the cities, you're going to hear it through the streets. It's going to be this wedding. When you can make davening, a talking to Hashem, you can take people relating to God like, oh, it's a mountain. God's this mountain over there. I can't ever find God. He's so far. Who's God? He's the man in the sky that gets upset and throws down lightning bolts. And we better grovel at his feet, or else he'll throw more of his lightning bolts at us, right? Did anybody have anything like that in their head growing up? I'm getting a lot of nods, and that's like $250,000 of good, Jewish school tuition later. So there's something going on we got to work on. Hashem is not a man in the sky. He's a woman. I'm just kidding. There's no man or woman. Hashem is infinite. And because Hashem is infinite, there's infinite love. The world seems to see God as very, very far. But Yaakov makes Hashem like a home, which is very close. We relate to our homes. And then all of humanity, even people that are very, very far from Hashem, they'll be able to start talking to Hashem. The times of Mashiach is going to be categorized by all of humanity talking to God. Even the guys who think, I don't need to talk to God. You know how rich I am? You know how many islands I own? You know how many planets I own? You know how much money I have, how many stocks, how much silver? Make sure to buy the real stuff, not the paper stuff. It doesn't exist. One day people will realize. Buy the real silver, like actually a piece of silver. Because no matter what, silver is silver, right? The greatest greatness of Hashem is when even those who are far from God know God. Okay, we're on letter Daled. You guys see that in your Reb Nachman? Daled. Okay, he's about to drop a bomb here. Every section, Reb Nachman will basically take it to another dimension. So how do we get to this? If we're going to summarize everything we already said. So, how do we stop judgment from coming to the world? Okay, yeah, clapping and dancing. We're going to make a long circle to get back there. And then we said, when does the greatness of Hashem fully get revealed? When those who are furthest from God say that God is great. We saw that by Yisro, Jethro, in this week's parasha. That's what the Zohar said. Then he became great because Jethro was doing all the idol worship. He was like hanging out with the shrunken head people. He wasn't just hanging out, he was the Rebbe of the shrunken head sorcerers. And he tried it all and he said, God is the greatest out of them all. That made God great. And then we said that the only way that humanity is going to be able to get to this place, even those who are the furthest, is through relating to Hashem not as something far. Like Avram said, God is found like a mountain. Isaac said that God is found like a field. And what did Yaakov say? Yes. Like a home. Is making it a home as a place that you have the most relationship to. Daled. So how do we get to that place that Hashem becomes relatable to us like a home? And sometimes we're going to be a little bit quick. Therefore, it's always good to have the text in front of you because also just seeing the words of Reb Nachman are very purifying. How are we going to take Hashem, that relationship, from something which is like a mountain and like a field to a home? That Hashem's kingdom will be known to all of humanity. Because our job is we want everyone in humanity to know God. That is our job. We want all of humanity to know God. Nothing short of that. It's impossible to do this. You ready for it? The only way to actually do this is through being connected to the tzaddikim. Like this Shabbos, we'll be with Tzimai, with the Chevra, to see real tzaddikim, to see people who know how to daven, who know the secrets of davening. They're the ones that can help us see that Hashem is very close. They know the secrets of prayer, the Tzaddikei Hador. And therefore, a big thing, as you might have noticed learning the Hasidic mystical sources, is that there's a big focus on being close to tzaddikim, close to righteous people, like big people, and learning from them. And we're going to see, they're not an intermediary. We don't believe in that. It's not like, oh, if I don't go and he's like my ticket to heaven. We don't believe in that. You go right to God. It's very, very important that you know that. But the tzaddikim teach us things. They teach us things. And like we learned about in Tanya, they're the head of the giant spiritual being called Knesset Yisrael. And therefore, if I connect myself to the head, then I'm pumped up with energy throughout the entire system. And therefore, the only way to actually successfully pull this off, and this is going to be a theme for the next couple of days, is being close to tzaddikim. Like the Gemara says in Baba Basra, the Gemara teaches us if somebody has somebody sick, God forbid, in their home, the Gemara says you should go to a wise person and he will daven for that person. So you might say, why should he daven for that person? Why should he pray for that person? I could pray for that person. And by the way, you should. Or why don't I just go and get all sorts of wonderful herbs and hoshuwu and goji berries and chuchuhuasi and all the good stuff? Why don't I just get... Because who do you think puts energy into the herbs? Who do you think puts energy into the medicines? Hashem. One of the things, though, is when it comes to prayer, you go to tzaddikim because they know how to pray. So somebody who, God forbid, is sick, you go to ask a righteous person to pray for them because they know how to pray. They know the secrets of prayer. Ki ikra tefillah einem yodim ki im tzadike hador. Real davening is only known to the big tzaddikim. And we go to them that they could teach us how to really daven properly. Prayer is one of the hardest things for people in this generation. Because it's so real. People don't mind learning Torah. It's exciting. But prayer is just so real. And if you don't really have a relationship with God, then it's just kind of weird. Torah is exciting. It's like fantastic. In Korea, they teach Gemara because it makes you smart. You can become a professor in Talmudic thinking. But you don't become a professor, you don't get a PhD in davening, in prayer. Prayer is something that's called the service of the heart. You need to learn from people who have a big heart. And we're going to see Rav Nachman's going to take us on this whole journey now of understanding from the tzaddikim who know the secrets of prayer, as opposed to those who are haughty individuals, even if they're leaders, but they don't really pray properly. They pray with a lot of haughtiness. That's going to be a contrast between the true righteous ones who know the secrets of prayer and those that are the balagaiva, the ones that think they know everything, that they're not praying from the right place. They're praying from a place of haughtiness for a certain external motivation. And Bezrat Hashem, we should be mamish zoicha to be mamtik all the dinim and to see Mordechai at Tzaddik and Esther with the lavush of the Melech and the Tchias and Mason, the resurrection of the dead. B'mhera v'yameinu amen v'amen. Shkoyach.